Hey everyone, it's Laurie from Cook Scrap Craft. Welcome back to the channel. Today I have another process video that doesn't use I was going to say it doesn't use a photo. There is going to be a photo, but the photo hasn't been printed yet. So I'm going to be using a 4x6, just one photo, and it's of my daughter's first day of second grade back in September 2023. So I don't have the photo printed just yet, but I'm going to use, as I did on my last scrapbooking without the photos layout, I'm going to use a 4x6 placeholder and just like washi tape it down, and that way I will know where the photo is supposed to go, so that when I do print the photo I can just stick it right down, or I remove the placeholder and then stick it right down. So the paper I'm using, the background is some lawn fawn paper, and it's got a grid design which kind of reminded me of like a notebook, and since this is a school themed layout, I thought that was fitting. And then the floral paper is just a scrap piece that I had set aside from using another layout. And the yellow is also a scrap piece of paper that I had from using another layout. The back side of that floral paper had some cut aparts on it, and so I cut off one of those cut aparts so that I could actually use it here on this layout. And now I'm just trying to kind of layer things up behind the photo, try to get as many different scrap pieces of paper as I can on this layout. I like that circle, but it just doesn't really seem to be fitting so well here. But I've got some like plattish paper, and obviously I want things that are going to be within the same color scheme. So purple, pink, yellow, blue. I'm thinking about using that sort of peachy pink paper, which is also something from my scrap bag. I don't know how you guys sort your scraps, but I do have a couple bags where all of the scraps are sorted by color, and then generally those are mainly like solids, and then generally if I have patterns, especially if there are a lot of different colors in the patterns, I have another plastic bag and I just throw them all in there, and then anytime I need some extra paper I just take a look inside the bag and see what I have and what might fit. So that's kind of how this layout is coming about. There's another piece of yellow pattern paper there. I did ink the edges with a Hampton Art black, I don't know why I said black that way, black ink pad. And that just helps things stand out a little bit more against the background. And what am I doing here? I've got another piece of, it says, I think making magic, I think is what it says. It's a cut apart from a Chamel piece of paper, and I think that was just stuck in the scrap bin, the scrap bag, and so that's gonna be there too. I just need to stick down all of these extra papers and get my washi tape down to stick down the photo. Trying not to, I think I've used actually Scotch tape before to stick down these placeholders, and that works out fine too, because even if the Scotch tape peels up the paper that's underneath it, it's going to get covered because you're putting a photo there on top of it, so it's not really that big of a deal. But obviously the washi tape is more ideal because it is so much easier to pull up. Although, as you're working, you might want more washi tape than you had planned for using, because sometimes it does move around a little bit. So I was just trying to figure out the right placement of that piece of paper. I didn't know if I wanted it to like extend all the way underneath the photo or where I wanted it. And I just wasn't really liking the way it looked when it was extending below the photo. So I'm just going to keep a little bit of it up a little bit higher so that it looks like it's just coming out from behind the photo, and obviously I'll cut off the excess right now. I like the other side of that too, but it doesn't really go well with the purple, I don't think. The plaid side definitely has some purple in it along with the orange, but the floral side is just a lot of orange. So I'm going to stick this piece down as well, and that's just going to go right on top of the plaid piece. I'm kind of making like an L shape here with the pattern paper, and then the photos kind of where the crease, I guess, of the L shape would go. And I'm going to stick that little 3x4 card there. This is definitely a Chamel inspired layout. She does stuff like this all the time where she just kind of layers up random bits of paper and creates embellishment clusters, does a lot of tucky things, I think is what she calls them, where she just takes, the cut aparts and stuff like that and tucks them behind the photo or tucks them around the pattern papers. So that's definitely where this inspiration is coming from. If you don't follow her on YouTube, she does live videos, I think twice a week. I actually haven't watched one of her live videos in a really long time, but the general idea of how she scrapbooks, that's always front of mind for me because I enjoy the way she scrapbooks so much. And so that's kind of, I'm not basing this on a specific layout of hers. I'm just kind of taking her what's the word, her ideas, her philosophy of scrapbooking. So to go along to create the title for this, I had these cool, simple stories. They look like varsity letters. It was part of the Crafty Things collection. They're alphabets. I'm not really sure what makes them crafty because to me they look like varsity jacket letters because they do. I'm using them as the title because this is a school themed layout. So the title is second grade and I stuck those down off camera. I didn't make you watch me do that, but I really liked the fun colors and the colors went really well with the other colors and the pattern papers, even though everything on this layout is just a mix and match of a variety of different manufacturers. And that's really how I like to scrapbook. I don't really like, I will, but I don't really like to just stick with one specific collection so much. I kind of like to mix and match and find things from my stash that work. And so that's really what this is. There's a little lady I had in a Chamel embellishment collection there that I'm going to put down. She looks like a girl. And since this is going to be a picture of my daughter, I thought I would use that. And I popped that up on some foam tape that I got from scrapbook.com. I'm also layering up some Simple Stories flowers. I think the flowers were also, I'm trying to find them here on my desk. I think the flowers were also part of that Crafty Things collection. The Crafty Things, I had some of the papers for it, and it's very much, yeah, it is from Crafty Things. It's very much like if you're scrapbooking about scrapbooking or scrapbooking about doing any type of arts and crafts. So I think it's funny that they have these varsity letters and then just these like generic florals that to go along with it. I'm sure they had embellishments that were specific crafty things like paintbrushes and scissors and stuff like that. But I like that they do have some generic pieces because I think that it's really easy to use those items on just about anything as opposed to getting really themey and specific things. So some of these flowers I'm popping up on some foam tape and others I'm just sticking right down. I thought about adding more to an embellishment off to the side there. With that piece, that's also a Chamel piece, but it just is a little too much and I couldn't figure out how. I wanted to layer up the flowers a little bit more and it just wasn't looking the way I liked it. So I'm just going to stick with the flower instead of any other embellishment piece there. Obviously, I can save that for something else, another layout about my daughter or Girl Scouts or whatever. So it's not going to go to waste, but I just like it better with just the flower there between that 3x4 cut apart and then the smaller cut apart that says Making Magic, I think. I was looking here in that Simple Stories flea market sticker book because I knew that it had some journaling spots that were, fitting with the color scheme of here. And so I found one and I'm just going to stick it down there and that's going to be where I add my journaling. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I am adding here before I finish up. I don't believe I did journaling yet. I think I was going to wait until I got the photo printed because I didn't know the date. I didn't know the date to put down. Obviously, when the photo is printed, I get mine printed from Shutterfly. They always print the date that the photo was taken on the back, which is really helpful. So it looks like I'm adding some enamel dots as well, and those are just from Simple Stories. One of them I had to add some a glue dot to because the adhesive stuck on the plastic instead of to the enamel dot, and that's always very annoying. But that hasn't happened in a while. I've been pretty lucky so far with my enamel dots. I was running into that problem a lot last year, but hasn't happened so much this year, which is good, especially since we're not even 2 full months into the year yet at this point. But we are like over halfway done with February, and that means that I'm almost I'm all over halfway done with this February challenge where I do a scrapbook process video 5 days a week for every week in February. So there is a February playlist. If you have missed out on any of these process videos, definitely go check that out here on the channel so you can catch up and see all the different things that I've done. And if you are enjoying this challenge or just this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more fun scrapbooking stuff and other process videos that I'm going to have. Here are the close-ups. Follow me on social media for more, and I will see you guys next time. I'll see you guys, I don't even know what day this is posting. Tomorrow? Maybe next week? I don't know. I'll see you next time though.